Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. This is the biggest match preview of my life. So let's get straight into it. Aston Villa v PSG at Villa Park. It is huge. It's massive. We're joined by Hannah and Justin. How are we both?
Very good, thank you. Ready for it?
I'm not going to lie. I felt like coming on here now, being 3-1 down in the Champions League to a great team like PSG, I feel like I'd expect to be a bit deflated and a bit like downbeat, but I'm actually feeling okay about it. I don't know why, but I'm just feeling okay about it. I think Villa are putting out a bit of stuff. Emery after the game made me feel a bit better. And Villa Park is special. It is big. It is a huge presence in Birmingham. And PSG are coming here with a lead. And we are so strong at Villa Park. And I think that is what is making me feel okay. Villa have put something out saying, "We believe in Villa Park." And I think that's quite powerful in itself, that Villa Park, it is something, isn't it? It's a heartbeat, and magical things have happened there. And I think it's going to be a wonderful occasion. It's going to be very loud. And I am fully embracing playing PSG in the quarterfinal. Hannah, how are you feeling about the occasion first before we really get into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, I'm much better at talking about the nice fluffy stuff than I am actually the how we're going to play. So I think like you said at the top, I think no doubt this is probably the biggest game that any of us are going to have ever been to at Villa Park. Just in terms of like the opposition, what's on the line, sort of the comeback. I think adds to that as well. So I think it's going to be quite a special night. I'm hoping it's like a Bayern Munich type atmosphere plus some, because we're going to need it, aren't we? I think we're on the back foot. There's no doubt about it. That third goal last week was a bit of a killer at the time. I think we all sort of felt a little bit deflated at the final whistle. But like you say, Luke, the sentiment from Emery and even the players of like, we believe like we can pull it back. Villa Park is our home. It's, you know, where we win on most of our games. I think that has sort of shifted it, and you can kind of now feel this anticipation and this belief sort of growing back amongst the fan base, which I think is exactly what we need, because ultimately now it's almost, I don't want to swear, but all or nothing is the term I'll use instead. Because we either we put our all into this game or we don't. Either way, we're probably going to get like a similar outcome. But we need to leave everything on the pitch. I'm not sure how confident I am that we can actually do it, but I think if we get that first goal, that place is going to erupt, and that little feeling in the pits of our stomachs that we can come back will really take charge. And I'd like to see that in the players as well. I hope that sort of the decent win at the weekend will have kind of kept things ticking a little bit. We've got some good momentum now, so things are looking up. And I think although the loss last week was significant, I mean the quality that was on show, really we can't have too many complaints about it. So I think going into this game, we've got to just use everything we can in terms of our home advantage and that belief, and just, if anything, just playing purely on passion more than anything, and using that as that extra 10% to get us over the line, hopefully.
I think it's huge for like the mentality of the club, in a way that we are in a position where we haven't been in this position for a very long time. We haven't been in this competition, and the club are growing. The club are trying to aspire to be a Champions League team season in, season out, and it doesn't happen overnight. You have to go through learning processes, and I think this whole Villa believing we can win is sort of like a mentality shifter for us. when we come up against these type of teams, we should believe that we can beat them, because if you don't, then what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So I think it's huge that we do have that belief and we go into it wanting to precisely win the game. Justin, let me get your thoughts on sort of your feeling as a whole, and then you can sort of lead us on to like the first game, because I don't think we've heard from either. Well, I don't think we've heard from any of you after that PSG game, because we recorded the Southampton preview before the game. So, yeah, touch on a bit of both for me.
I'll start with, you'll be surprised to hear, a positive. I know we can win. I know we can win this game. I have absolutely no doubt at all that we can win this game. And I'm going to go a little bit further. The 2-goal deficit that felt like a gut punch at the end of that game, I'm going to turn that into a positive. How, you are asking now, how do you turn a 2-goal deficit to PSG into a positive? The positive is we have absolutely no choice now than to go for them. A draw last week or a marginal 1-goal lead, we would be, what do we do here? Do we stick? Do we twist? Do we attack them? Do we sit back? Do we try and get a set piece? Do we just defend and hopefully they don't score another one, hoping to nick something? I genuinely think now Unai has got one plan to win this game, and he said immediately after that game.
I'm going to cut it here, right? Because there's this PSG fan, right, that keeps clipping me up, right? He's done me, I think he's done me 3 times now, right? And he ain't going to know what's hit him when he sees Justin talking about Villa. He's going to lose his shit because he's heard me talking about tactics. And now he's hearing Justin give like a speech.
What's
like
his name,
this.
Luke?
So,
do you know his name?
It's PSG INT, I think. PSG int. So
PSG int. Clip this up, mate. You have no idea what you are about to walk into on Tuesday night when you hit Aston. We are coming for you, my friend. We will not be sitting back. We will not be doing anything other than coming for PSG. We will leave everything on that pitch. I have absolutely, regardless of the result, we have got no choice than to go for them. And I think the first game will have taught Unai a lot about what happened, going on to your second point. I think it would have taught him a lot. And I think he would have learned a lot from that game. But with the backing of the crowd, with the backing of the stadium, and history and everything that's behind us, everything that's got us to this point, every single one of them players that have sweat blood, sweat and tears to put themselves in this position at our football club, there is no way in the world that we take to that pitch with anything other than 100% going for PSG. And if we get the first goal, which I fully expect us to do, the place... Possibly, everybody goes on about having to rebuild the stadium. We may have to rebuild it after we score the first goal because the place is going to come down. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable atmosphere. So stick
I
that
love it.
PSG.
I love it.
And if we lose, I'm leaving the country.
I love it. Right, Hannah, what needs to change from a Villa point of view?
It's a tricky question because I think so much of sort of, if you want to say went wrong last week, was more just a result of PSG's quality. Now, PSG aren't going to turn up with a weakened side. PSG aren't going to turn up and play like a typical away team and sit back. PSG will play the same game. So I think from a Villa perspective, the things that we didn't do very well were when we were on the ball, keeping it. And that is like the most simplistic way of talking about football, and it's easier said than done. But we were I think we looked just a bit panicked sometimes on the ball. And I'm hoping having that sort of home advantage will mean that we feel a little bit more comfortable when we're on the ball. I think out of possession we were decent. Like defensively, yes, we conceded 3, but generally I think defensively we were decent, and off the ball we were quite good for most of the game. But on the ball we were quite wasteful. It was only those sort of like couple of occasions where we managed to sort of hit them on the counter that we looked a little bit more dominant and happy to have the ball at our feet. I think a lot of that was because we did obviously have a lot of bodies behind the ball. So when, we were trying to play out, there just wasn't that outlet. So it might be that we just need to try and expand that a little bit, whether if we get on to talk about the team, whether it's sort of having someone like Watkins that we know is happy to stretch a defence, whether that's kind of the key to this, just having someone who's an outlet a little bit further up the pitch that will be able to retain the ball, I think is going to be very important for this game, because we are going to be under a lot of pressure, and I think it's how we manage that and take our moments. We need to be clinical. There was, again, I think in the sort of reverse fixture, it was when we were still at 2-1. I think Rodgers was sort of one-on-one with the keeper and he misses his chance. I don't really think it was the easiest chance ever, but if he scores that and it's 2-2, it's a completely different game. So I think it's about being clinical. Again, easier said than done, but we've just got to take our chances when we get them, because they're not going to be plentiful, I don't think. But yeah, I think it's more than anything, it's how we can sort of slow the game down to the tempo, because we know PSG were stifling. They were such high intensity. They don't give you a second on the ball. It's how we manage that. How can we make it our game and slow it down to the tempo we want? Not making it slow, because that's never going to work in this type of fixture, but getting it to a pace where we're comfortable, where we can move the ball up the pitch, get the bodies up there, and sort of break through a little bit. But I think it will be a challenge. But we know that Emery will have been literally assessing that game probably 12 hours a day since it happened. And they all kind of knew that we were going to come up against quality and that we were going to have to defend a lot. And the same will be the case again. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether formation-wise or personnel-wise things are a little bit different to sort of help us with a little bit more strength in possession.
Yeah, Justin, Emery then. So after the game, he sort of come out and said, we will win at Villa Park, which I've mentioned a few times on some of the shows I've done, that that's very unlike him to come out and say something like that. Even like when we're talking about Champions League last year, etc., he was like, game week 30 something, get there and then ask me. And he's very sort of, doesn't really say stuff like that. And obviously his game plan away at PSG was to bring it back to Villa Park in some state to give us a chance to be able to do things at home. And even when he talks about the fans after every game, he knows that connection's important. So what do you think he's going to be thinking, sort of like going into this game? Like what do you think his mindset's going to be like?
Well, he's obviously been watching me on the podcast, hasn't he? Because his positivity is rubbing off on him now, isn't it? He's very bullish, isn't he? And that's the way you've got to be, and that's the way I want him to be. This is a monumental task facing everybody at the club, not least the 11 players that are going to take to the pitch to take them on Tuesday night. So they know the importance of feeding off the fans. They know the importance of making sure every single fan that has a ticket on Tuesday night contributes as much as the players on the pitch. We've seen that video they've put out tonight. They're starting early, 2 days before. Let's get everybody wound up. Let's get everybody absolutely buzzing and just get there early. Just feed off the fans. Honestly, it's an old cliche, the 12th man, but it's true. Fans can make the difference. So he knows the importance of the fans. He has fed into us since the day he arrived. And we are, I feel, a family. I never thought we'd see another connection with a manager after Dean Smith left that we've seen now. And if anything, I feel as connected, if not more connected, to Unai Emery, because he has embraced us and he brings us along with him the whole time. So we've got to do it together. It's going to be a combined effort. That's the only way we can get through this.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. So talking about Emery and his team, we're going to predict the lineup together. I have got some rogue team in my mind, and I asked sort of Hannah what needs to change, and I'll just give a couple of thoughts on what I think needs to happen in this game. Now, I feel like what Hannah said, PSG are going to be exactly the same. They are going to play exactly the same way. They will look to do the exact same things. And if we do the exact same thing, I don't think we win. If we do the same thing with the same system, with the same personnel, and the same team that played away, I don't think we'll do it. I feel like this PSG team are very, very good, but you need to stick it on them. You need to make it very, very difficult for them, and you need to disrupt their system of what they want to do. And I feel like we need to come up with a certain scenario or situation where something within this game is completely unplayable for PSG, something that they really struggle to deal with, a player that they really struggle to deal with. And then once that happens, you start creating a bit of doubt, you start creating a problem for the opposition, the crowd, the intensity. We go 1-0 up, the belief in the atmosphere, and that one goal swing is completely different. We need to put them under pressure. We need to make it difficult. We need to take them out of their comfort zone. At PSG, it was far too comfortable for them. So we have to do something that completely disrupts them, puts them under pressure, and they really struggle to cope with what we offer at Villa Park. So that's my thoughts, and that leads me into what I'll be picking from my lineup. So we'll do the lineup together, and then what we'll do when we get to a position that somebody's like, I wouldn't play them, then we can sort of chip in and we'll all give our reasons why we probably wouldn't play that player, or we'll put someone else in there. So, Hannah, you can kick us off then with you go with the whole back four then, and then we'll go from there. What's your back four to play against PSG?
Okay. The funny thing is, like, you'll often spring the predicted lineup on us when we don't know we're going to do it. And I should have learnt by now to start thinking about this ahead of time. I'm nothing if not professional. I think, like you say, I'm not sure whether the surprise and the change in the team is necessarily going to come from the defence. I'd say that's probably elsewhere in the team. So I'd say we're probably going to stick with somewhat of a similar back four. However, that being said, I am inclined to maybe start with Matson.
Oh, that's
No.
a surprise.
It is a surprise. Now, I might regret saying this. And then please remember, I'm doing this on the spot. So, do you know what? I think when I said earlier, it's sort of an all or nothing game. I'm not saying that means we need to just throw everything at it, right? But I think what we've seen recently is what we've seen some of the best of Ian Matson. We need to score goals in this game. So, whilst Luca Dean 100%, I'd say, is the better defensive option and had a good game, I think, against them last week. I think if we want goals and that creative outlet, I think Matson recently has been very good at that. I know he played at the weekend, so I'm probably wrong. I think the rotation was probably with the intention that Luca Dean's going to start. But I'm just thinking purely from the fact we've got to score goals. Who's going to be more of the attacking threat? I'm going to go with Matson. But I will happily be wrong on that because I have no doubt that Dean is the better defensive choice and we're going to be up against it defensively. I'd then probably stick with Pau and Konza. I think that's probably why we saw Mings play at the weekend. I really love Tyrone Mings, and part of me wants to put him in because I do think he's just so solid. However, I think, again, for the type of game this is, we want someone that's going to be really good with the ball at their feet, who's going to be able to be quick thinking, really comfortable playing out from the back. I'm hoping that would be sort of the role that Pau Torres has. And then at right back, am I right in thinking that we didn't actually get any players suspended? There was no
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I think again we're going to have to start with Cash because there's no option. I really, really like Disassi, but we can't have him at right back. We can't.
Okay. Right. Hannah's gone with that. I don't think we'll do that. I think now this is part to do with what I'm thinking. I think, right, this
Can
is
I
what
say
I'm
mine
thinking.
first?
Go on then, put yours in.
Luca Dean,
Yeah.
Pau Torres,
Yeah.
Tyrone Mings, Emery Conser right back.
I just don't want to see that. I don't want to
So,
see that.
I'll
my
tell you.
thinking is only because Cash and Disassi both struggled against Cash Shivalashivili.
Right.
So Konza would too.
I think he's the better defender out of all three of them now.
But he's
And
not
I
right.
think defensively, yeah, but he's played there quite a bit for him, and he has, you know.
And
I just think the back four
never liked Konza at right back.
has to be very, very, very strong.
Right. My head. This is what is in my head. That is in my head. Right? Should I tell you why?
The only reason I've gone with Disassi, the only reason I've gone with Mings over Disassi, because I just think I like Disassi. I just think Mings is an out and out defender, and he will die for the cause on Tuesday night.
Right. I'll ask you all. I'll ask you both a question, right? And this is why I've put this player at right back. Who is Villa's best 1v1 defender?
Emery Conser.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not right back.
Conser.
But is this not a brand new back four for like the biggest game of our history?
I know what you're saying, Hannah, and I think Conser for me isn't the ideal right back permanently, but in a one-off game when you have to have a player to do a job, and we struggled badly at right back last week, both of them did, and I think this is why I put Conser at right back as a one-on-one and pure defender. There's nobody better.
If we're having Konza at right back, it has to be Mings with Pau. Can't have to. For me, that's just too disruptive to combination. I know we've had a lot of combinations this season, but you throw in. Have Pau and Disassi played with each other yet? I don't know if they have. I just
think so.
A new centre back partnership for this game is not it for me.
I actually wrote
something different here. So
three at the back as well. I don't think that will happen, but I think by playing Conser right back, Mings and Pau, it allows that freedom and that flexibility to sit in with the three and allow.
Because the other thing as well is what we've got to think of as well within this whole team is that he's not being asked to do this in this game.
No.
What he's being asked to do is he's being asked to be in here and sit like that. That is how we'll be defending.
Yeah.
So you've got 4 players that are going to be sat there, and then somebody else is going to be coming in and making a back 6 or 5 anyway. So we're gonna have to decide.
If it wasn't if we was up against anybody else, I would be more inclined to go a little bit more attack minded in the back 4. But because we know they won't change the way they play, and in a way, it will help us that they aren't going to change the way they play because we're just going to expect them to come and attack. But I think that means that our attacking threat has to come from in front of our back five, and our back five has to be very, very solid. And as a one-on-one player, their left-hand side was absolutely unbelievable. But they were good all over, but they were particularly threatening down that side. And I think he will have to think very carefully what he does with that right back slot.
So I think we have to go for Luca Dean by that standard. Get rid of Matson.
Yeah, I'd say that Dean as well.
Really would implore to not have Pau and Disassi. I really like Disassi, really do, but I really don't like the thought of having a brand new partnership in this game. I think, and I also think what Tyrone Mings brings is probably more what we'd need in this game than Disassi in terms of leadership, in terms of aerially. I just think he'd be the better option personally.
Okay, right. Well, we'll go with, we let you pick the back four, so we'll go with yours. Double pivot, I imagine we're all happy with Kamara and Tielemans. Am I correct?
Yep. I was surprised Tielemans played at the weekend, but
he was due some minutes, Tielemans. So
right. Left-hand side, when Hannah was talking about Matson, that sort of played in with who I'd put on the left anyway, and it was Rashford. So Matson Rashford link up is very good, very strong. We get the best out. So if it was to be Matson, then I think that would work really well anyway. Does anyone disagree with Rashford on the left?
No.
No? Right. Do we all agree that Watkins is going to start up top?
Yes.
Yeah?
Got
right.
to.
Okay. Here's my wild shout.
Are you going to put...
Can I guess?
You're going to put Marlon in?
No, he can't play.
Marlon can't play.
Oh, of course. Oh, poor fella.
I am going to say you're going to stick Amadou and Nana in somewhere.
I am. I'm putting Onana there. Right, hear me out. We know that when we played against PSG, we went very long, didn't we? So we went long. We were looking to go long. He's got physicality. He's got power. And don't forget that he's not going to be up there pressing with Watkins. What we get when we play this way, and if Rashford starts, we'll have high and wide on the left. Probably the right-hand player will be coming inside a little bit more. So if Hannah's saying we've got Cash as well, so that's where width comes from. This player always drops into a midfield three. So having Onana, who we know is going to be dropping in there anyway, and it's going to allow us to have three out-and-out central midfielders in the middle of the park as well. And then you can have Rodgers on the right, who can go there, etc., width, screen. And then you've got your midfield two with Onana and Tielemans. It's wild, but I think we've got to do something tactically different, because if we go with the same, I don't think it's going to work. Right. So you two, who's on your off the striker then and out wide?
I don't like Rodgers on the right very much. I think he can play anywhere. I think he's that good, but it's not my favourite. But Emery seems to put him out there. What I do like is when, and I think we've seen it a little bit more recently, specifically with Rashford coming in, is the swapping wings, because we never used to do that, and I think it's worked when we've had players that are sort of a bit versatile and can play both sides. I think the Onana shout is interesting. I don't think it will happen, but I suppose this is what we would go for, rather than what is actually going to happen. I don't think Onana would start. I don't know. Has he ever played in that more like advanced position? I don't know if he ever did it for Everton. I would probably be inclined to put John McGinn in and have Rodgers on the right instead, and drop Onana to the bench.
So do you think it's pretty much the same team as last time, then, isn't it?
Minus Ramsey for
Watkins.
Rashford.
Yeah. So Watkins comes in for Ramsey.
Yeah. I am thinking around, like, realistically, how much is the manager going to change the team for this game? I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I think McGinn brings the kind of physicality that we don't necessarily have in other players. Maybe Rodgers, but like that goal came from McGinn. Let's be honest. Like Rodgers' goal came from McGinn being really strong in that midfield. So do you drop him? Because I just think he brings something different. Onana's like physical in a different kind of way, I think. I don't know. This is what I mean. I haven't thought about this extensively, so I'm open to debate on the front 3 or 4.
What are you saying, Justin?
I've done nothing but think about this team since we finished playing last week.
We're complete opposites, Justin.
I really like your Onana shout. I've got to be honest. I see so many merits in everything you're saying. I think it shores up the middle of the park. It adds physicality. I thought he was absolutely excellent when he came on last week as well. He thrived in that atmosphere. I actually thought Kamara was quite quiet last week and a little bit disappointing. Whereas Onana just grabbed the game and went for it. And he carried the ball really well as well, something we haven't seen a lot of him. But
It's
I
another
don't think he'll do it.
midfield 3. I think
I
that's what
don't
I'm
think I like it, but I just think it's a little bit too. I think he will throw in a bit of a curveball. I think there is something eating away at him that he probably think I got slightly wrong last week, so I'm going to change it for this one, and having the home advantage will help him, I think. So I have settled on, and the other player I thought long and hard about putting in, and I just can't, is Asensio. Because I think now, after watching him against Southampton, I think he's a off the bench player. I think he's changed. He's just somebody to come off the bench and affect a game now. So I will go with Rashford left, Watkins up top. The only difference between the two players you put in the other is I would play Rodgers in the 10 and I'd put McGinn on the right simply because I think that left-hand side, they were so strong. McGinn's energy down side will help massively.
I agree.
And it would free Rodgers up to hopefully be the real catalyst in our attacking.
And it gives him a bit more roam. Like he can, if he's centrally, I think that's what he like. He's that type of player that likes a bit more freedom to sort of drift in and out. But
We've only come up with 33 different teams, so we're all right.
I was going to say, I think like this is the first time we've all been like quite different in our opinions. I think for me,
I think it just shows how important this team selection is because we're not overthinking it, but we just know that it's such a hard thing to set a team out to beat them, isn't it?
It's striking the balance between like you say, Luke, needing something a little bit different. But for me, I just keep falling back to I can't see us revolutionising the midfield by playing a whole new 3 and like Onana in a brand new position. And I can't imagine us playing another new centre-back partnership. I think a lot of what we need still will be a core team that has been playing well in general. But I think it would be more so tactically how we adapt to them rather than personnel. But I can imagine 1 or 2 surprises, like we've all kind of agreed. But I just don't know who that'll be. I think that I was actually thinking this against Southampton now, that a year or two ago, you kind of always knew what the starting 11 was going to be for most games, and you kind of knew what the 3 or 4 substitutions were going to be. But it's changing weekly now, and it's great. But it does make this really difficult because I used to always know what team to pick, and now I honestly don't have a clue half the time.
Well, I think a couple of you what?
Sorry, I was just going to say, do you know what the best tweet I saw after the game on Saturday was? I think Damien Vidigani saying we've now got a 22-man team.
That's so true. Yeah. I think that the big thing for me, I think we all agree that Rashford's not a striker, so he needs to play on the left. You'll get the best out of Rashford on the left. We'll have options with Rashford keeping hold of the ball. We'll have a runner in Watkins, so when Rashford gets the ball out wide, head up, he'll have a runner in front of him anyway. And I think we just need to get to grips with that PSG midfield and disrupt it. So that's got to be the plan, really, and to defend really, really well and to score the first goal. And
I'll say one thing on here, so it's on record. I think PSG are going to get a man sent off.
Interesting. You've been to the book.
That PSG dude, he's going to have so much in this, isn't he? He's going to have so much to go through. Right, so we'll do score predictions then. I think we're going to win, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think we win 2-1, which will mean we lose out by a goal. Hannah, what are you thinking?
This is horrible because I don't know if I've ever predicted a loss.
Do you want me to mute you? I've got to mute you before you say anything.
No, I don't want to predict a loss, but I don't want to be.
Well, you can if you feel it. If you feel it, you just predict what you feel.
Do you know what? This is the type of game where I feel a different thing every time I think about it. So, tonight I'm sort of at a cautiously optimistic phase, which I think again would be the same as you, Luke, like a 2-1. It's optimistic that we can win the game, but it's just not gonna quite be enough. I think it's a really hard one to call. On match day, when I get to my seat and I'm feeling it, I'm either gonna crumble under pressure and be terrified, or I'm gonna think, yeah, we're gonna smash them. So I think it's really hard. But with all of our various either team predictions or score predictions, hopefully one of us is right in some way.
Yeah, hopefully Onana starts off the striker, turns into like
I'll give you a tenner.
Prime Zidane.
Yeah, prime Isaac, mate. Linking, finishing. So, he had that shot at Southampton. He was warming up, weren't he? He's had the chat with Unai. He thought, right, get your eye in against Southampton, shoot from distance, and yeah, he's going to tear down the goal. So, yeah, maybe. Right, Justin, what are you going with?
You're all going to be shocked. I know you are.
We're not. Okay. 2-0.
You've got a
win on pens.
Ruined it.
2-0 win on pens.
Emmy the
What's
hero.
the bottom bit say? Yeah.
2-0 win on pens. Emmy the hero. The whole of France meltdown.
Love it. Right, guys. Thank you. That's our preview. We should have fan cams after the game. I've now got 2 days with DAZN following me around. So that's going to be mad in itself. So, yeah, I will try and bring the fan cam. I know they want to do something after the game with me. So I'm going to try and do fan cams and try and get them to do some filming at the same place that we do it. So hopefully we can bring our reaction as well. So if you've enjoyed the episode, make sure you hit the like button, comment your thoughts, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa!